everyone, and welcome to a special Jurassic World News Bulletin. Yesterday, we had the first official Jurassic World Rebirth teaser, and tomorrow, we get the first official Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. So with that in mind, how about you check out this video to catch up on all of the Jurassic World Rebirth news you've missed out on. Grab your cup of tea, it's gonna be an interesting one. So before we really get down in the trenches of analysis and everything else, how about we refresh ourselves on the plot? This being the synopsis right here, that being Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey are the two main protagonists in this movie. They journey to an island to retrieve 3 DNA samples from the biggest creatures that exist, that being one from the air, one from the land, and one from the ocean. And then when they get on the island and they have to do all of this, they come across a dark secret, a sinister and shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. And with that all in mind, let's get on to the official promo pictures. Oh, sorry about that. There just seems to be long grass all over the place. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Here are the promo images. And you'll notice the long grass is a theme of this Jurassic World Rebirth, as it even features in the teaser. We'll get onto that later. So these are all the ones that have been sent out by Universal. They've been in Entertainment Weekly and all these other places. But you can find them on the actual website, jurassicworld.com/gallery, I think it is, or something like that. It's nothing really too spoilery. We're not going to expect that either. I mean, we've just gotten the teaser. But speaking of teaser... Oh my god. And it really doesn't show too much. We've got Scarlett Johansson looking at something, and then we have Benjamin looking at something. However, Benjamin notices a tail behind him. Now, you could say that he's about to be attacked. The tail's gonna, it's gonna whip him and finally cut that long grass. But I think it's more likely that this is a tail of a sauropod. I mean, a tail like that is long and whip-like. It's not a carnivorous tail. Like, carnivores have tails for balancing when they're running and such. The sauropods are normally the ones that have the long, spindly tail. And what's more important is that the music that plays over this scene is very, it's nice and gentle. It's the classic Jurassic World theme that I think we've heard before. But what I thought would be quite interesting, because they often do this to mess with you a little bit, is to change the music to something, I don't know, a little bit different. Amazing what a little bit of music change can do to a scene. And now it seems as if they're about to be attacked. So really, is this a peaceful scene? Is it not? Well, this is what I think this scene is. I've compiled all the images on the left, which are of the Jurassic World Rebirth, and all the images on the right are images from all the other Jurassic movies. You've got Jurassic Park, Lost World, Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic Park 3, Dominion. The only one that doesn't have a wow sauropod scene is Jurassic World. You kind of have it with the Gyrosaurs, but not really. And that's what I think this scene is. I think this is them. I mean, already you can see the characters all looking up, go, wow, it's, this is going to start the movie, or just after they enter the island, they see these big dinosaurs. And because they need 3, I'm assuming one of the DNA samples of those 3 is this giant sauropod. And we'll get into exactly what sauropod that is later. Titanosaur, cough, cough. But anyway, it's a long neck, right, guys? That's all you need to know. All us dinosaur nerds will go, ooh, that hasn't been in this franchise before. And all of the other people will go, oh, it's just a long neck then. But I think in a way, this also shows a little bit of the checklist that we came to know from Dominion. That everything was a checklist. Like, oh, sauropod scene, done. And that's what this is. It's a sauropod scene. However, with the teaser and the tail moving, it could almost be like, oh, there's one that they caught their eye out, and this seems to be Scarlett Johansson's first look at the dinosaur. But it could be also akin to the sauropods see a carnivore. Or maybe they get alerted to a carnivore's presence, and that's why the tail comes up. Maybe we'll see a whip scene on a carnivore or something like that. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this is the sauropod scene. It is going to be early on when we get to the island. There's no more we need to analyze about it. But this touches upon a wider theme that I want to go with this video. And that is, what does the time of day mean for the scene and the general movie. And here I've compiled loads of the night scenes from all of the movies. And as you can see, every time it's night, it's usually raining, there's a big carnival, and there's a big action scene. Which is quite surprising when you look at the promo images when we've only got one night scene. And it does seem to be a scene that, something bad might happen. And with that in mind, is it possible to take those promo images and guess to whereabouts they fit in the movie's timeline, and maybe give us an inkling as what the plot might entail as well? So first off, let's look at Jurassic Park. And at the start, you had them arriving at the island. I mean, really with this, I'm going to count when they first get on the island, and most of them as well, because a lot of these movies have a little bit of build-up at the start where maybe there's a day or two or something, but let's just consider the island and go from there. So we have 2 days and 1 night. Of course, the middle being the most action-packed, where the T-Rex breaks out. So let's look at The Lost World. Kind of similar. In the middle, you've got the night. In fact, this time you have 2 days and night cycles. And every time you get a night scene, you have a T-Rex doing something, whether it's San Diego or the base camp or killing Eddie Carr or something like that. We can take a look at Jurassic Park 3, akin to Jurassic Park, where there was only 1 night cycle, but when that night cycle happened, you had this Spinosaur rear its ugly head, and then the day kind of came at the end, but we didn't really focus too much on that. Jurassic World, again, only 1 day-night cycle, really. Night happened, Indominus Rex got the raptors, there was a huge big showdown. We could look at Fallen Kingdom, and there was only 1 day and 1 night. I'm not counting the start of the movie. But basically, when night happened, it was all Indoraptor, it was all action. But what I'm getting at here, and including Dominion, is that basically there is only 1 day and 1 night cycle on the island. You don't spend multiple days on the island, and I feel like Rebirth is going to be a bit similar. And again, in Dominion, you get a day, a night, and then everything goes to hell, Dilophosaurs, T-Rexes, and all that jazz. And I feel this is a formula that's going to go forward for Jurassic World Rebirth. And taking that into account, we can sort of plot the time and events with certain clues in the weather and especially the costumes. If we take a look at the timeline for Rebirth, at the very start, obviously we're going to get a recruitment of Scarlett Johansson. We found leaks of her being in a museum, and that seems to be where she goes to get Benjamin, because he'll be, he's one of those nerdy Chandler types who's spending all his time in a museum, and Scarlett needs him for something because obviously she's not a dinosaur nerd and he is. So they recruit him, and they've got their little kit, and it's like a case, a bit like the Barbasol kind in Jurassic Park. This time it's a briefcase thing where they're going to store the DNA samples. Then they get to the island, you have the sauropod, and then you have the rest of the adventure through the island, and at some point they come across an egg in a nest. I'm hazarding a guess that this is going to be the Quetzalcoatlus. So many clues in this. One, how are they going to get the DNA from a giant flying Quetzal if they're literally just boots on the ground? They're not. Are they going to shoot it and then wait for it to land? No, it makes more sense for them to go to the egg and get the DNA that way in the nest. And also, if we, you take a quick, close look, not that I have it here, but hopefully I put it up, of the scene, they seem to be in a temple, Aztec ruins, very similar. Who was the god of, I can't remember, was it the sun in Aztec legend or lore? It was Quetzalcoatl, which is Quetzalcoatlus. There's too many similarities here. And then somewhere near the end, we get the nighttime scenes. If you look at the start of the movie, Scarlett Johansson has no hat. And then all of a sudden, she gets a hat. And I have no idea where that hat comes from. So we have pre-cap and post-cap, apparently. Although somewhere along the way at night, she loses a cap again. So it's very odd, because I don't think we have post-cap happen before pre-cap. I think she doesn't have the cap, gets the cap, then loses the cap again. Something like that. We got to have Alan Grant, we got to have the hat. But if you take a close look at her sort of in the middle of the movie, this could be hinting towards maybe a betrayal, maybe the character that's in the grass with the white shirt possibly as a double agent for another company and steals the samples, because if you look at Claire, she's opening that said briefcase which has all of the DNA samples in. At this point, I would hazard a guess that they've already got the Titanosaur DNA, but there's nothing in there. And if you look at her gun, at the end, it has the injection. So, I don't know. I have a feeling that maybe this is where the betrayal happens. The briefcase gets swapped at some point, and he's going to make a quick escape to get to his boat. A bit like Dennis Nedry did. Again, we're just trading the briefcase for the cryo can in Jurassic Park. I'm not going to predict. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying. That aside, how about we get into some speculations or things that are out there that may tie everything together. Now, these aren't leaks per se, because they are ready available for anyone who wants to troll through toy fairs and all that jazz. But Toy Fair, of Mattel's Toy Fair in 2025 in Brazil, showcased some dinosaur toys that were coming that were very revealing, let's just say. As well as I think it was a toy magazine as well, that showcased some silhouettes of up-and-coming dinosaurs. Now, the reason why the T-Rex isn't blurred out is because the T-Rex already exists, I'm pretty sure, or it's already out there, so there's no need hiding it. However, everything else that they've hidden is a bit interesting, and we'll get into those in a second. So, with that in mind, one of the things that was on the list, in Jen's toy list, was the Spinosaurus. I mean, this is the only dinosaur that we haven't had ruined by Universal. The way it left in Jurassic Park 3, I felt was perfect. We didn't need it to be killed. We didn't need it to be a hero dinosaur or to be a villain dinosaur. It was just this thing that maybe it was it was a genetic hybrid, and that's why it attacked the humans and had a grudge, because they hit it with a plane. If you're hit with a plane, you're gonna have a chip on your shoulder. Haha, literally. Anyway, I did not intend. Being a dad, these jokes come to you naturally. But the toy that was in the little magazine showcased a Spinosaur. However, the toy seemed to be up on its back limbs, not on all fours. Possibly we'll get the change. I don't think it's going to be the same Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, at least I hope it's not. Apparently, there are rumors out there that it's blue with yellow stripes, and that it's a bit like the Suchomimus from Jurassic World website. Do you remember that? I mean, it's in Evolution, the Suchomimus in there. But we've got more. The Quetzalcoatlus. Now, again, I think that scene is the egg scene. That's the one where that's the Quetzalcoatl's nest. It hints with the ruins in the background. And we've seen shots as well that have on filming on set that show massive cliff faces of the Aztec ruins there. And also it came to light that there is some sort of board game coming out for Jurassic. And on there, you could see, the dinosaurs, the big three on there, and one of them seems to be the Quetzal. Now, it doesn't seem to have changed too much, although maybe it's got like more of a crest at the back. Moving on to the sauropod. Again, this was one that was translated in the from Portuguese, the Brazilian Toy Fair thing. Again, showing in the board game. You've got this outline of the neck there, and it's got this yellow frill that's around about here. So this bit here correlates very closely to this. And the thing in the middle, this picture in the middle, is actually of a fan's recreation of said leaks. It's not the one from the film, it's just a portrayal, like maybe it looks like this, but since we've seen the box art, it kind of confirms that that's the way it's going to look. And it's very similar. I can imagine the shot being like from Ferocious, the upcoming game, where it's very inspired by Kong Skull Island and that sort of thing. But Anyway, onto other dinosaurs. Raptors! I mean, what is a Jurassic movie if it doesn't have raptors? And I'll talk about T-Rex in a second. But this was thrown out there that this could be a design coming from, the new raptors, because Universal in Osaka, here in Japan, is having a new event coming at around about the same time that the movie releases. It's March 14th to August 31st, and it showcases a different raptor design. Now, I've been to Osaka before, in USJ, Universal Studios Japan, and in my video, I actually managed to see that same raptor. But the one in the movie, the one in the updated banner, seems to be exactly that same raptor, but they've just repainted it. And I think a lot of people who saw this thought, they're going to bring back the Jurassic Park 3 raptor design. I don't think so. I think they made that original raptor, the puppet, the one who was in a dinosaur dance parade thing that I recorded, off the Jurassic Park 3 raptors. But I think they just repainted it, so it looks a little bit different. And I'm kind of glad that they're doing something with that area, because at the moment, I think if you go to Universal Studios Japan and you see the visitor center, it's got one piece all over it. Because I've been there twice now, and it's always been One Piece. I'm like, I didn't come to this place for One Piece. But I digress. Anyway, a quick rant on T-Rex. I don't think every movie has had a T-Rex, right? It's going to be there. We don't need to talk about it. It's T-Rex. It's been also confirmed. But this is the big one. This has only been sort of confirmed through leaks. The same leaks that mentioned about the Titanosaur's design. And we're not going to take the leaks at face value because that would never make sense. They're leaks, right? But one of the toys in that Brazilian Mattel Toy Fair in 2025 was translated, there you go, Jurassic World Rebirth Vilão. I can't remember how you say it. I don't speak Portuguese, as you can quite clearly tell. But that translates to villain. Now, obviously, they don't want to give this a name. Do you remember when Indominus Rex was, in fact, I think it was the D-Rex or Diabolus Rex or something like that. But it did mention in the leak, however, that it had 4 arms. And I think, in a way, we're sort of seeing the failed plot of Jurassic World 4, or Jurassic Park 4 coming, the human hybrid dinosaurs. But not only are, is it sort of being confirmed with leaks, being confirmed as a villain dinosaur in the toy magazine, but if, we look at the synopsis even for the movie, they come face to face with a sinister, already sinister, that means villainous, bad, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for decades. So we know that InGen are on the island because we've seen some props here and there, maybe some leaks since the InGen, maybe. And it seems to be abandoned, so that would make sense that InGen were working on a hybrid. Maybe it got out of hand, I'm not too sure. And here, if we look, this bit here, this is from the leaks. I'm pretty sure. A poorly cloned unknown species, abandoned on the new island, a danger for life on the island, which is interesting. It does make me think, it perplexes me a little bit. If this has been, if we're talking about InGen, how many years ago? 20 years ago when InGen was a thing, possibly? This hybrid dinosaur has been left on the island to roam free, and it hasn't killed everything. A bit like Indominus Rex, it killed for sport. I would imagine something like this would. If it's a killer, which I'm assuming it's going to be, it's a villain dinosaur, and with looks like that, only a mother could love it. It gives off from the design perspective of stay away, danger, very bad times if you were to go and give it a hug. I think this is probably almost confirmed. I don't think we will see this, however, in the upcoming trailer that we'll get tomorrow, because that's too much. If you remember, Fallen Kingdom didn't even allude to Indoraptor in the first trailer, and this, it's giving Indoraptor vibes. It's giving halfway through the movie is dedicated to it. Maybe there's clues throughout the movie, the first half, maybe a scratch mark here or there, a corpse here or there, but then I think we'll have a big chunk of it when it's night. Maybe it echolocates or something, a bit like Scorpius Rex. We'll find whatever this thing is. Who knows what it's going to be called? I don't think it will be called the D-Rex. Maybe it will. Who knows? These things change all the time. What was it? Scorpius Rex was E745 or something before it had a name? Who knows? Anyway, another big thing, a big announcement that came from an interview with the writer of the script, David Koepp? Anyway, he's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park screenplay, or the script for Jurassic Park. Very integral to it, where if you're a fan like me, you've known for a long time that the future Jurassic Park movies have taken a lot of inspiration from the novels and have pulled things from there to recreate, scenes in later adaptations of the movie. And he does say here that there was a sequence from the first novel that they wanted to make into the original Jurassic Park, but couldn't. But they were able to do it this time. So that's led a lot of people to, skim through the original novel and wonder what that scene could be. One of the scenes where Alan Grant, Tim and Lex are going down the river in a kayak or a boat, I think it is. They go through the aviary, and that's how the whole aviary scene, I think, came about for Jurassic Park 3, when Pterodactyl took Lex's hat off her head or something like that, or Timmy's hat, because Timmy was the older one in the novel, his baseball cap. But then one of the craziest scenes was that the T-Rex jumped into the water and chased them through the water, which was very surprising, I think, to any reader, especially even to the characters in the book. I think there was a part where the T-Rex was at the bottom of the waterfall with his mouth open, waiting for them to fall in. The scene from The Lost World where the T-Rex is in the waterfall, that was in the first novel. That's what it was. I completely forgot about that. But what other scenes could be included? Well, we have venomous compies, which were kind of in The Lost World. You had the Dita Stark scene, he was killed by them. Were they venomous? Don't know. Maybe maybe that's why he was overcome by them, because it was venom, but it was just subtle, If you read the novel, you would know that they're venomous. We also have the poison eggs, and this is in the novel where Alan Grant has to bypass these raptors, and he injects poison into the eggs and then rolls them very quickly because they don't attack the slow-moving ones, if I remember correctly. Or because we've had rumors that Jurassic World Rebirth is going to be rated R, so it's going to have, gruesome deaths, possibly. Maybe we'll get scenes like the juvenile T-Rex, knocking Ed Regis to the ground, I think it was. And horrible scene with his screams hearing in the distance, and then eventually it kills him. Or even Dennis Nedry's scene where he has his, he gets cut open, he gets torn asunder, and he holds his own intestines in his hands before the Dilophosaur picks him up by the head and crushes him. So we could see something like that. Maybe. We don't know. But at the moment, it's all up in the air, and we can enjoy and let our imaginations run wild. So that brings us on to the fun part of this video, because the trailer is literally tomorrow. I thought I would construct a fun little trailer bingo card. Now, some of these I don't think we'll see at all, but it's always fun. You never know. I mean, you look through that. I think there's some that will definitely be there. You may get a bingo. I think we could possibly get a bingo from that. Things that I don't think, D-Rex. I don't think we'll see the hybrid. I think that will be saved until the next trailer. Not the first one, not the initial one. The next one there, where I'm hinting of it, like, what did they have in this lab? What was in this chamber? Oh, it looks a bit different. We'll get something like that when we see an abandoned facility or something, I feel. And that about brings us to the close of today's video. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. Of course, I will be here tomorrow to react and break down the trailer. I'm assuming we'll get a lot of new information in it, and I, like you, I'm very excited. And until next time, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, bye-bye.